Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Duval Dive. I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And you're listening to this thing on the Believe Podcast Network. That is, of course, most likely, if you haven't gotten a hold of your life and subscribed to the Duval Dive YouTube channel, make sure you check out all of that as well. And Travis, listen, I'm going to let the world know a little bit about you. You do have a little bit of background somewhere in your life when you used to sing a little bit. And as we prepared for this episode, a little bit of gnarls in there. I remember when I lost my mind.
I remember when I lost my mind. Let's go.
All of the Duval Duval have lost their entire damn mind, considering the fact that the Jags are currently third in the AFC. I know we mentioned it on Wednesday, Travis, but we had to talk about it again here. Why? Because all of it could either be maintained or in complete and total jeopardy with the coming week's game battling the Indianapolis Colts. A big old fat hairy deal, as the kids say, or as the old people say, as people out there of some sort say. That's not the point. But listen, Travis, one thing I missed thoroughly while I was out during holiday travels, such as they were, when you were holding the damn thing down, was the keys to the game. Sir, I am anxious. What is your first key to the game?
Well, before we get to the keys to the game, I got to figure out who's going to be there and who's not going to be there. I mean, because right now I'm still to be determined on the game statuses for freaking Travon Walker with his knee, Parker Washington with his hip, Walker Little concussion, and Dewey Wingert with the concussion protocol. I mean, that Friday injury report is going to be huge, man, overall. But then positive news for Jacksonville, like obviously Eric Armstead was practicing earlier in the week. Patrick McCarry was also limited early to open the week. Safety Eric Murray was a full participant as we await word on whether or not he's going to be activated from IR. But if you're a full participant, you're probably hoping that would be the case for Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's a mighty fine sign. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But I mean, it's a huge game as far as the injuries are concerned this week, because Indianapolis, man, you got the loss of all-pro defensive tackle DeForest Buckner. He's been on IR for a few weeks.
Other than Jeffrey Simmons on this show, Travis, I think he might be the player of an opposing AFC South team I mention most on this Duval Dive podcast.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate, Daryl. And then, I mean, losing Sauce Gardner, he has a calf issue, so he's going to be out for a few weeks. They didn't put him on IR, so at least that's positive for them. He may end up being back the second time the Jaguars play against them. But you got Daniel Jones playing on one leg, so it's obviously why the name of the podcast is what it is. Hey, man, you got Daniel Jones out there playing on a fractured fibula, and while it may not impact how often he's, running the ball, he only had one rush last week against Houston. He looked pretty good last week against the Texans, though. Like, I don't know if anybody actually watched that game. If you haven't, NFL Plus, you can watch it in 30 minutes condensed, or you can just watch it on YouTube on the highlights, 18 minutes on NFL. Please watch the game so we can talk about the game. And he looked pretty good against the Texans. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But keep an eye on that Friday practice report. Josh Downs has a knee and an ankle injury. Their slot cornerback, Kenny Moore, also has an ankle. And this was a weird one, Kyle, because I told you, I don't generally have keys to the games where it's all defensive or all offensive. It's normally almost always a mix. And if it is going to be all something, it's almost always offense. But this week, I'm really concerned about whether or not the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is going to be able to slow down this Colts offense, because these boys are averaging about 30 points a game for the season. So I'm questioning whether or not they're going to keep this thing to 23 points or less. So let's get into it, man. Key number 1. Come on, sweep the leg. And I'm not trying.
I got to do it. You said sweep the leg. I have no choice. I have to do it.
Oh, okay. Share with the family.
Sweep the leg.
Oh gosh.
You have a problem with that?
I mean, if your quarterback's coming into your house with the fractured bone, I'm sorry. I know you don't want to be the bad guy, but you got to sweep the leg, and that means blitzing Daniel Jones, bro. Like, don't you like I love how simple the game of football is. Like, and I say this to posts all the time. Like, I love people who break it down to simple terms. Like, if you can just look at a game where you can say, all right, this team did that, and that's how they won. Oh, we got similar guys in those same roles. We could do that same thing. This is what they did to win. We could do the same thing too. Cool. Well, Daniel Jones played against the Houston Texans last week. He was 14 of 27 for 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions with the completion percentage over expected of negative 7.9, whatever. I know you don't agree with the completion percentage over expected as a general stat. I'm not worried about that.
Nobody knows what that is. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I got you. But the gist of it being, for me anyways, is like he completed 7 of 9 attempts over 10 yards for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns against Houston. Like, that's really dang good down the field. Like, he was good in the pocket. He was good when he was extending his throws down the field. But where he was struggling significantly is when they blitzed him. 39% of their snaps when they blitzed him. He went 2 of 11 for 14 yards. Did you hear me? 2 of 11 for 14 yards when you blitzed him in those 40% of snaps. The only reason he ain't have a game that Justin Herbert had for 81 yards against the Jaguars, like that sort of a game, is because they stopped blitzing him. They ain't blitz him enough. Like, so if I don't see one of those ESPN ticker tapes at the bottom of the game at the end of Sunday that says Daniel Jones has never been blitzed more in his career, we missed the mark. Anthony Campanelli, that's what I'm talking about.
And here's the thing. I think blitzing a guy that is immobilized, I'm going to take another bit of simplification, if you will. Our good friend, Big Game James, is somewhat famous, infamous, whatever you want to mention it, in Duval circles for dropping his rant about what I'm going to say in the family-friendly version of MFer ball. Okay? You throw the ball, you have your MFers and they have their MFers, and you throw the ball to your MFers where they don't have MFers. That's
you throw the ball where the MFers ain't. Like, that's the
that is exactly. Shouts to Big Game James once more. One of my favorite things I've seen in the Duval space, no question. Not counting our show, of course. Subscribe to the Duval Dive YouTube channel, please. Thank you.
Yes, Lord.
But yeah. Now, what's the best way to stop MFer ball in that instance when he's trying to throw the ball to his guys with MFers ain't at, is to rush that decision. Simply put.
Make it quick. And, he can extend plays like he used to. Like, again, I talked about it on Wednesday's Duval Dive. He did have one of his touchdown throws to Tyler Warren on a bootleg. So he can move a little bit. He's just not going to run the ball like that. Like, he only had the one rush against them, against the Texans, which is crazy because normally he would run it right 5, 6, 7 times in a lot of the games you've seen, like as recently as week 10. I'm sorry. And now you're just not seeing it. So I'm like, okay, so he can run a little bit, but he's not going to choose to lean into that if possible. And that helps the Jacksonville Jaguars sweep the leg. Do it. Like, do it. Cherry Cola.
But with that, no sensei.
That's it, man. So that was my first key to the game, is obviously, man, blitzes, man. Get out of Duval with a victory. Like, sweep the leg. But next, limit JT. Jonathan Taylor Thomas, home improvement. Like, we have got to limit him. Now, this man is averaging 5.7 yards a carry. And I don't think folks understand how crazy this is. Like, he's doing it with more carries than 50 more carries than Jameer Gibbs. Like, so it's saying this is who this guy truly is. This is not saying he got it over a few long runs and it's overinflating his average or whatever else. Like, nah, he's doing it to that level with that many carries because he is that dang dominant. And he's third in the NFL in total yards from scrimmage behind only CMC and Bijan Robinson.
Isn't it funny what they do when they aren't turning the damn ball over?
He has just under 1,300 yards rushing, which is first in the NFL. And he also, by a large margin, is leading the NFL in touchdowns. Like, I'm not trying, this isn't a Colts podcast, but in a preview of a game, I don't believe I'm being over the top to say this is easily the biggest Jacksonville Jaguars challenge that we've seen on the ground this season. And that's including Christian. That's including Christian McCaffrey.
Right. McCaffrey at this point has far less supporting cast than does Taylor. And listen, you talk about a home improvement. The only home that's been improved is Lucas Oil Stadium in this scenario, sir. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. This is an MVP candidate. This is why all the stuff you said about this being the biggest Jags challenge is true. And for all the trash I've heard talked in Duval circles upon Eric Armstead, y'all better be asking for the miracles from him, because he and Devon gonna have some work to do.
They got their hands full on this one for sure. And we saw, I mean, the Jaguars have played a top elite tier type of running back in CMC, but folks forget how well CMC did in that game in the passing game, because that is what CMC is. That's what he's become at this point. CMC is not a rushing running back. That dude got 800 yards receiving. I don't think most people in Duval County know that. Christian McCaffrey has over 800 yards receiving right now. So when you talk about,
but it's Alvin Kamara-ish. I follow you.
Yeah. So when you talk about a guy who has that many yards, like Taylor's doing it on the ground, like he's one of the best runners of the football in the NFL, in my opinion. So like he has the highest missed tackle rate in the league. He's 6th in the NFL in receiving yards by a running back with 304 yards. So when I say any conversation surrounding winning on Sunday starts and ends with limiting JT, that's what I'm talking about. That guy is the engine of that football team. He's the engine, he's the alternator, he's the starter, he's all of it at that point. Like, so stopping and limiting JT is the Jaguars' primary goal for Sunday. I hope they can. They showed a few cracks in their run game this past week. I wasn't expecting to see that, but again, that was Eric Armstead a little hurt. Mason Smith didn't play as well. I do hope that Eric Armstead is able to play, and I hope the Jaguars are able to limit in the run game, because that's going to be a great strength versus strength matchup on Sunday.
I think that's a great point by you. We'll talk more about it as we talk about our X factors. I'll put it that way.
All right.
Next step, number 3.
No 2024 repeat. And what I mean by that is, you can't allow the explosives to make this into a game. Like, I don't know if folks remember that 2024 game, but the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. But on the off chance you don't remember, oh wait, wrong one. My bad. That's not even the right one. This doggone guy, Alec Pierce, out here catching one-handed catches over Monteric Brown on the sideline with the Joe Flacco game when they come back from a 14-point fourth quarter deficit. Now, do you remember the game I'm talking about? Yeah, that one. With Alec Pierce with all these explosives out of nowhere. And I know this team wearing white has horseshoes on their helmets, but this ain't nothing but a prototype. This is prototypical Tennessee Titans team. And I don't think folks really get that. Like, that's no shade. There's no knock against the Titans nor the Colts there. But this is Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, smash mouth, run the football, control the ball while opening up the vertical passing game type of offense. Like, that is who they are. Like, this was last week against the Houston Texans, where, Alec Pierce catches the ball over 2 Houston Texan defenders. He's still doing it.
Absolutely stupid concentration on that play, by the way. If you aren't watching this on the Duval Dive YouTube channel, please do so you get Travis's excellent reference there.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, at the end of the day, you cannot let this guy open up like the explosive passing game for this Colts offense, because that's who they are. They are truly that like old school prototypical Tennessee Titans. We're gonna run ISO routes down the sideline. That's gonna be our vertical passing game, and there's no more explosive receiver on that team than Alec Pierce. So I'm like, we can't keep letting these guys get away with this, guys. Like,
you mentioned all of the above. It's a great take. You're explaining why you have so many defensive points on your keys to the game. But listen, this DB core, these corners are going to be fantastic, right? Jordan Lewis is Travis Hunter is going to yeah. So
because it's not saying that cornerbacks aren't good. It's to say the guys with the best ball skills in this secondary is one, Travis Hunter. He's not there. I'm not sure who number 2 is, but I guess I'm probably going to go with Jordan Lewis, and I don't think that's necessarily his strength. I think he's great at knocking the ball down, but I don't think he's necessarily great at like intercepting it, getting hands on the ball, going up and climbing ladders and grabbing those balls in those explosive type plays. That's what this Colts receiver core is actually really dang good at. So that's what makes me nervous. Because again, Monterey Brown was on that highlight film, and I'm not saying that Monterey Brown in 2024 is Monterey Brown in 2025. I understand development does happen. It's a new coaching staff. I get all of that, but I am simply saying these guys are going to have to show the ability to get the ball in the air, to go and climb ladders, which I just haven't seen a lot of that in this season. And that's despite the fact that I think they actually have been doing well this season as a DB core.
That's a great point you're making, because even if the Jags do their best to prevent Daniel Jones or whoever ends up playing quarterback for the Colts from doing MF ball, as we referenced earlier, you got to still stop those ladder catches that are attempted, or snag turnovers when that mistake is made.
And that's where this is going to get real interesting, bro. Like I'm here, but we already talked about the fact that the Jaguars need to be blitzing the mess, just blitzing Daniel Jones off the field. Yes, blitzing Daniel Jones off that field, but on they obviously won't, and that's what this is going to come down to. Is like when they aren't blitzing him as often. Josh Hines-Allen, I need you to have your infamous AFC South rival hate games. Like, I need to see the hate in every movement that comes out of you, because Josh Hines-Allen just this past week against the Titans, had 2 sacks on 31 pass rush snaps in week 13. That's a 6.5 sack rate. But I thought it was interesting because a lot of his sacks came when, he was trying to allow the rest of the defensive back to kind of squeeze the pocket. Basically, they were trying to be really disciplined. They were trying to be really focused on not allowing him maintaining gap integrity. And it was mostly power. It was a lot less bending the edge and things of that nature. So his average time to sack was 6.41 seconds.
That's God,
a long time.
Yeah,
I thought that was crazy. But it's only 2 sacks, but it was 6.41 seconds, which is
exchange didn't take 6.41 seconds.
That's an eternity, right? So he had one in 31 snaps. He had 1 quick quarterback pressure in under 3 seconds. Like, I want to be real clear. I'm not criticizing Hines-Allen for his performance in the game. Again, that was the game plan. It seemed like they weren't trying to necessarily bend the edge in those ways. But I will say, hey man, the numbers are what the numbers are. Like, they rush with discipline. I ain't calling the man the pressures, man. I'm just saying I wanted to give it context, because folks sometimes get on those time to pressure conversations and they say he's only getting pressures or he's only getting these cleanup sacks, and some of that does have some legs. I want to be real clear in saying that. Shout out John Shipley. Shout out John Shipley. He put onto the socials, Pro Football Focus, Jaguars defensive end Josh Hines-Allen ranks since the bye week. He's tied for 3rd in sacks. He's 2nd in pressures, 3rd in win rate. True pass set pressures, he's 1st, and true pass set win rate, he's 3rd. And the true pass set is no RPOs, no play actions, or screens. I thought that was interesting because it is a great stat, but I'm weird though. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest and say I'm weird. You can make everything sound good. Well, I'm not trying to be negative, because again, I think that's actually a very good thing when you have a true pass situation. But how often are teams not running play action or doing RPOs or doing a screen in today's NFL? You're talking half of the snaps away to get to that true pass sets situation, and that's half the snaps that are passing snaps. So we really are talking what, 20% of the game, 30% of the game max. So you're saying 70% of the time this guy does something else, but when you get those 20%, he's great. And I'm like, that's cool and all, but how are you doing this in an effective way? Because I don't know, bro. It didn't impress me like that. I guess
I get it. You're being the great critical, real analyst that you are here on the Duval Dive. You're a fantastic talent for that. But your worry is absolutely misplaced. I mean, the only part really where they would be that bad off is if the opponent had a running back that's potentially the MVP of the damn league. Oh, wait.
Oh, dang. That's right. This might be that. Lord. So I mean, the Jaguars they got a few hard decisions to make this week, man. How are they going to attack Indianapolis because this won't be like the Titans or the Chargers games where you got a quarterback whose natural instinct is kind of to hold the ball. That's kind of what it was. Even against the Arizona Cardinals, it's exactly that. He held the ball for more than 3 seconds on average. Well, if week 13 was any indication of how like the Colts and Daniel Jones played against Houston, he's gonna he moved around a little bit. I talked about it already. Like he had the rollout touchdown to Tyler Warren. You saw that highlight already. Like if he's going to play in the pocket and actually be a game manager in that way, he's going to get the ball out in around 2.4 to 2.6 seconds. The week he got hurt, his average time to throw was 2.4 seconds. This past week against Houston, against that great defensive front, it was still 2.6. I don't like those numbers. Not for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've talked about this all season. I've been talking about this since like week 4. Make sure folks notice it. Hey, 2.5, 2.6 seconds. If the quarterback average time to throw, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have a bad day. I've said it consistently and been right consistently all throughout the season. I'm just pointing it out. That's not the Jacksonville Jaguars' forte this season. And it's only gotten worse whenever Trevon Walker isn't on the field and they have a guy who's throwing in that time frame. They're not getting quick pressures, is my point.
All those are great points. And I think you and I each have individually made the points separately, either subtly or directly. And this goes back to my times. The aforementioned great John Shipley was my editor when I was writing for Jaguars and SI. I also wrote in my tribute article to Josh Hines-Allen getting his 17th sack that year against the Carolina Panthers. One of, I believe it was 3 games or 4. I forget precisely which because it is that far back at this point. But multi-sack games. Yeah. Josh Hines-Allen feasts on weaker talent. But if you want evidence that isn't from those years ago, that isn't from everything that Travis is talking about, an inept line that you and I and many members of the Duval Devout made fun of, who was so desperate that they at one point saw Cam Robinson as an upgrade. How many times did Josh Hines-Allen sack Davis Mills? Travis Holmes.
But he throws the ball out at 2.54 seconds. So, we can't get there in that time, I guess. These are the rules.
And the Texans rebuking the great Josh Hines-Allen, despite that weakened offensive line, for me, is the evidence, more than everything else you've said, of that, shall we say, I don't want to call it inability, but that criticism.
It's a harsh criticism, and it's not trying to be over the top, but it is what it is. Like this game, and in a lot of ways, a good portion of the seasons comes down to Hines-Allen's ability to not just win, especially this week. It's coming down to his ability to win quickly when they're not sending extra guys and blitzing Daniel Jones. Like,
listen, Usi Umenyiora was his best when he was across from Michael Strahan. That doesn't mean he was a bad player. He just needed somebody like that on the other side.
Yeah, that's it. So X factors. All right. So my X factor for this game, bro, is it's got to be Tyler Warren, right? Like Colts tight end Tyler Warren versus Jaguar safety, maybe Eric Murray, maybe Dewey Wingard, assuming he plays, or the Jacksonville Jaguars linebacker, whoever lines up across from him.
What about Devin Lloyd?
Yeah. Whoever lines up across from him, that's gonna be my conversation. That's gonna be my X factor, because at the end of the day, Warren averages 5 catches a game, and he's third in the NFL for receiving yards for a tight end, behind only Trey McBride, Travis Kelce. That's a great combination of guys to be behind, right? Pause. Sorry. So Jacksonville, we don't normally do well when the opposing teams, they throw a lot to the tight end. And what I mean is, we have a lot of data to kind of back this up at this point. I mean,
I knew you would bring up Dalton Schultz.
Brother, every tight end that has 5 or more catches, I actually listed a few tight ends that had less than 5 catches, just to let you know just how successful they have been this season. Travis Kelce went 7 for 61 and a touchdown. AJ Barner for Seattle went 3 for 71. The 2 tight ends combined for LA for the Rams went 4 for 78 for a touchdown. Brock Bowers had 12 catches for 127 and 3 TDs. Schultz Dalton Schultz in week 10 had 7 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. And Trey McBride had 9 catches for 79 yards. Like, do I have your attention yet? Like, obviously they are struggling to stop the tight ends. And now you're going to have a great tight end come in the door and say, all right, cool. Like, I'm a guy who's definitely going to get 5 to 10 targets this week. Are you going to stop me? I feel like that's a very easy X factor from my perspective.
No, that's a great take. I think the quick question I would pose, and listen, you're the defensive guy on this podcast. I don't think it can't change anytime soon because I'm too old to play any defense, right? But the punchline is, I think this is call it a symptom, a side effect, a hazard, if you will, of the Campanelli defense, right? When you rely heavily on blitz and exotic stuff, the tight end is going to be called upon often and not always thoroughly accounted for because blitzing does not allow you to account for every receiver on the field sometimes.
And some of it, they had to blitz because they lost Devin Lloyd and they just needed to find a way. Yeah. And they lost Trevor Walker and needed to find a way to just create pressure because they were just struggling creating pressure. So you might be a symptom, you might be right. But that amount of blitzing has not really stopped just yet.
But it still sucks. Exactly.
Yes. And I would also argue it might have a lot to do with the safety room also, because losing Eric Murray for a good portion of that time also. So maybe getting him back, if they already get him back this week, then helps that. And maybe there will be a little bit better safety play. Who knows? We'll see. I'm questionable at least. Like where that lands.
It's a fine. Your bias is in the passing part of the game because you're a DB. I'm taking it to the trenches.
Okay.
The guys up front got to do something because if Jonathan Taylor can bust it through the middle, then you got bigger problems. Okay. At that point, Eric Armstead, Devon Hamilton, get the memo. You got to step your game up. You have to be a defensive tackle presence. I'm not saying you have to be Jeffrey Simmons, but it would help.
Yeah. I mean, it would help. Speaking of Jeffrey Simmons, I told the Duval Dive on Wednesday that I was going to take a look at the tape to talk about the play of the offensive line. And even though all of my keys to the game this week are defensive based, I thought that might be worth talking about. Like the Jaguars offensive line did reasonably well in the passing game, despite the fact that, they gave up some pressures. Like Dan Griffin, shout out Ashton Sports Jacks, put the Pro Football Focus numbers up. Robert Hainsey gave up 5 pressures in the game. Cole Van Lanen, who played both right guard and left tackle in the game, gave up 2 pressures. Ezra Cleveland also gave up 2. Basically, the rest of the guys all gave up 1 pressure. I think that sounds like what the game tape looked like, but that's not even where my head was, bro. My head immediately went to, what in the heck happened to the run game? And wow, the tape said it was Jeffrey Simmons all day, and it was not good. I do mean it was not good. Like 3, he takes on 3 to 4 guys on the one of the early runs in the game, and it's like, oh, that's what the day's gonna be. Like it just was to the point where they weren't getting any movement on that guy, and he was living in the backfield the entire game. In the passing game a little bit, but in the run game especially. And I'm just like, yo.
I mean, good on Trevor to get rid of that one, but damn.
Yeah. Like he just tosses Robert Hainsey like a rag doll. Like, I don't know I know folks that if you haven't seen the play, it's basically like a grown man playing against a child. And I didn't know of another way to say it. It was just like he slams Robert Hainsey to the ground with one arm, and I'm just like, yo, that's ridiculous. That should be illegal in some countries. And I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. And
yeah.
But he's the reason that the Jacksonville Jaguars run game was not working on Sunday. And I didn't know that. I didn't immediately notice it when I was watching the game live. So in my head, I'm like, oh crap, I hope that doesn't happen this week. Oh, that's right. There's no DeForest Buckner this week. So they probably should be all right against Indianapolis. That's my hope. That's my guess. But yeah, so just something to keep that little feather in your cap. Keep that little memory there for when they play against those dominant defensive tackles on the inside that maybe they might struggle a little bit trying to run the inside.
And we had people in the comments on Wednesday mentioning that they would struggle against that kind of thing. I would even add this, and since I was out last week previous to this Wednesday's Duval Dive, I didn't get a chance to address Jeffrey Simmons talking about, oh, well, Trevor only has his first read.
Gosh.
And you think that's an insult of Trevor, and perhaps it was. That's not how I take it.
His offensive line.
You're damn straight. Trevor is only going to have time to read one MFer because I'm in there that fast. Pause. So all that to say, without DeForest Buckner handling that business, I think the O-line has a better chance to contain. Another key would be not so much just Trevor Lawrence. He's the quarterback. Of course, he's the key to the game, but his ability to have a second game thoroughly game managing is going to be an element. I think winning Jaguar football is Trevor Lawrence at, I don't care what his yards per play is, but if he has a completion percentage better than 60, the Jags probably win.
Better than 60? That's it? That sounds like a low bar. I'm here for it.
Call it 65 because I expect them to run the ball like that. That's why I said only 60.
Oh, so you have the expectations of them running the ball, and that's why I got questions about the stats. Because all right, so because both teams want to run the ball, that's their identity. However, both teams' run defense is better than the other teams' run games. That's sort of creates a strength versus strength scenario. And I'm like, you got the Jaguars' first-ranked run defense versus the Colts' sixth-ranked run offense. And I'm like, dang, that's going to be an interesting matchup to see who's going to take that lead, like who's going to edge that out. Same thing with the Indianapolis Colts run defense. They're 7th. Jaguars' run offense is 11th. So, again, the numbers tell me that the Colts should be able to stop the Jaguars' offense from running the ball. We'll see if that works out like that in that way. Neither pass defense is actually good, but also but the Jaguars pass offense has been rocky, but it's been better lately since the bye week. Right. Whereas the Colts passing offense is 6th in the league. So that's saying that this is going to be a high scoring game is what this screams to me. Just looking at the stats, but then turnovers, the Jaguars are 16th in the league in overall turnovers, whereas the Colts are 23rd with 12. So they're really close in that range, whereas both teams are really dang good at taking the ball away on defense. Jaguars are 3rd with 20. Colts are 8th with 17. Again, we're in the same ballpark, but the points scored is what this thing comes down to. The Colts are 1st in the league, 30 points a game. Jaguars are 11th with 24 points a game, but since the bye week, they've been around that 30-point range also. So I think this is going to be a really dang good game. And the guys over at NFL.com, I guess they don't seem to think so because, 9 out of 10 said the Jaguars were going to win. And that was
fascinating. By the way, welcome back to Earth. I warned you, Humpy Bumpies, about this team playing a butt ton of weak opponents. Travis, if this was an SEC school, people would be complaining that they would be having opportunity at the playoff, okay? The moment they come across anybody with a modicum of remote talent in the form of the Pittsburgh Steelers, they lose. They beat the fraud cons. That's adorable. Then they go to a depleted Chiefs team that is just underperformed this season, lose to them, and then lose to the Texans as well, which I'll let them slide on losing to the Texans because it's a divisional game and it's quirky. Travis, the only thing that prevents me from being as confident as this panel on the Jaguars' victory, even though they have a great record against the Colts at Everbank, no jinx, is the fact that divisional games in this division are so weird. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where I'm landing on this one. I ain't gonna lie to you. I gave my prediction. I changed my prediction, and now I'm still evaluating, literally in the recording of this podcast, how I truly feel about it because it is truly that close. Like if you were to ask me to put money on this, I would tell you it's not even going to hit a 3-point spread. I feel like whoever wins, they're going to win by like 2-1.
Even money would be a reasonable thing to do if I'm a sports book, 100%.
That's legitimately how I feel, and I don't feel like any of these scores go high enough. That's the funny part.
I think they go too high.
That's funny because I'm thinking it's going to be like a 30 to 20, 29 to 26, 29-28. Like, I'm talking a 2-point win that's basically both teams getting near the 30-point range.
You're talking 50 plus feels low to you, which is interesting. I'm not there.
Yes, I am absolutely there. I have no confidence in either of these defenses versus those offenses.
Okay.
And that's where I'm leaning. So if I have to line through the sand, I'm not big on hope, and you know how this goes. But I would probably say the Jaguars win by 2, even though I don't love it. But it's that close for me. And it's going to come down to turnovers, and like, don't make dumb turnovers at wrong times. And Trevor's going to throw his one interception a game. That's got to come. So that's where I'm going. I'm going Jacksonville Jaguars win 29 to the Indianapolis Colts 27.
29, an interesting score. 29-27, fascinating score. You certainly surpass your 50-point threshold. I'm not there. I'm gonna go. Yeah, this is not an easy one, guy. I'm gonna go 24-23 Jags, simply on the strength of it being a home game. Okay. And the reason why it's 24-23 is the Colts opt to go for 2 and fail. Yeah, I'm in a place where both teams are going to try to run the ball. Both teams are going to find reasonable success doing it and run clock in inordinate fashion. I see multiple long drives by both teams. To your point about the defenses, I just think you're pointing in the wrong place. I don't think either side passes prolifically because of various failures that may happen outside on the edge. What really, and I know earlier I said Eric Armstead, and the defensive tackle core is the X factor of the game, but the O-line's ability to protect Trevor, I mean, it's always a big deal, but I think there's an accent here, right? If there's more than 5 pressures on Trevor, this game is close. If they have
5 sacks or 5 pressures?
5 pressures.
5 pressures. That's every NFL game that's ever been played.
Maybe I should say 10. Let's go with 10. If they offer more than 10 pressures on Trevor, this game stays close. If they can keep that under control at a reasonable clip, it's a blowout, because there's no way you're convincing me at this day and age a hobbled Danny Dimes or whoever they put out there at quarterback is going to compete currently with one Trevor Sunshine Lawrence.
That may be true, but I don't know if they necessarily got to compete, because again, I thought that 200-yard, no turnover, 2-touchdown game against the Houston Texans, that's game manager football that will win you a lot of games, versus a quarterback who throws for 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. It's the same 2-0 turnover margin. You know what I mean? Like, so from my perspective, it's not about. And
I'm with you. I think Dimes and Trevor will balance their turnovers out. I agree.
That's it. It's not about like whoever has the best statistical game. It's about who just like protects it. Because I think both of these teams will score.
Maybe special teams blows it open for the Jags. Hines-Allen, Parker Washington go precisely nuts.
Parker Washington probably. If Parker Washington likely is I would have to say he's unlikely to play. Like, I don't think I'm breaking news there to say I don't think he's going to play after having a hip injury where you weren't touched in the middle of a game.
I should have mentioned.
Probably not playing. Yeah. So I'm sitting there like, well, if that's the case, then that's going to change the game significantly, because the guy who was top of the league is
Hines-Allen and Ray Lane. Come on, Travis.
I know. I'm just saying the guy who was leading the league in punt return touchdowns and yardage is potentially going to be out on Sunday. That hurts, and I forgot we hadn't even mentioned that part of it. So
correct.
Cam Little, that weapon, but they also may not have Parker Washington, the additional special teams weapon there. So
I'm the one that has field goals. Well, you have field goals in your calculation too. I'll be fair.
Sure, that's fair. Oh, but yeah, and if you guys are still listening, like and subscribe on the Duval Dive YouTube or wherever you catch our podcast. If you're on the audio side, please rate and review it. But also, as we discuss on Wednesdays on podcasts, if you can afford it and you consider yourself a fan of this team, find a way to get to Everbank on Sunday. When you have many of these types of games this time of year, and we're legit front runners with our destiny in our hands at home. Man,
relevant December football in Duval. Deposit yourself into the bank. Anyways,
Travis, y'all better show up, show out, And don't forget to head over to NFL.com/Pro Bowl and vote for these Jaguars players, man. Let's get Cam Little, Logan Cook, Eric Armstead, Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne, and all these guys into the games this year. And last but not least, click that like button. You know, y'all guys. Yeah, you can find me on Travis D. Holmes on all the socials. BigCatCountry.com. Check out the post game right up on Sunday. Check out all the breaking news that we got over on the site this week. And yeah, I mean, again, rate and review us on the pod. Click like button, comment below, and let them know where you can be found, sir.
Absolutely. If you're wearing teal, make your appeal. Get that Pro Bowl vote. And of course, I am Kyle Nash. Let's tune the game. You find me on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Twitter at the SOTG. Find me and my work covering the UCF Knights football and basketball and the Night Shift podcast and the Black and Gold Banneret, as well as my work covering the Orlando Magic and bowl season rapidly approaching. Make sure you check out any coverage I have there too for the Cure Bowl, for the Pop-Tarts Bowl, or for the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Any of those three, I will be there, as has been the tradition for the past near decade. Good God. So yeah, there you go. As always, all you Duval divers kicking entire booty to help us out. We appreciate that. Keep that subscriber growth for us, if you would please. We're close to 1,000. We just cracked 800. Get us there, please. Thank you very much. And yep, that's right. Make EverBank great again. Deposit yourself into the bank 100%. And what? And of course, on behalf of my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, who will be at the bank, I think, on Sunday. Is that yet? He will be. Yes, good. He'll be there for the Duval Dive live as we take care of that business, of course. I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.